Thank you.
My morning sequence has kind of changed
Well,
this
yes,
morning.
you don't usually greet us at the door.
I know.
Why not? That's lovely though.
Ah, winter weather,
Mm.
but it's going to warm up a few degrees every day for a week. Okay. It would probably help if I switch cameras here. It will help them anyway. So, how's your second energy body?
Yes. There.
It's there.
Sometimes I'm more aware of that than other times. Um, yeah. Um, I think, I mean, this is kind of not really an answer to that question, but it's something that popped up this week, was just kind of feeling, um, really noticing the difference in three. Just feeling a very different energy. I think because of the such a focus on the central and side channels and the other in the others, and not in three. And so just kind of, I don't know, just kind of this week I was like, what am I doing? I think I probably have spent so much effort making sure that the form, that I wasn't jutting, that I was, that I was doing that I think that I've kind of lost track of some of the internal energy there. So that became more clear to me as I was working on my etheric body. So.
Also, one of the things that tends to get lost in our practice of three is that you are really working with the energy of the liver and the spleen,
Mm.
and you're both taking in fresh
Mm-hmm.
energy and expelling used energy. So sometimes, at least I will say that I found focusing on that really improved
Mm.
what I was doing with three, both physically and energetically. So just a passing thought.
Yeah, I had forgotten that. I went back and tried to look for where we had really talked about three in our in the notes, but I wasn't very successful. Probably looked too quick.
Since we're speaking of that, four is working with the kidneys.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So that those two are really important to be aware of that internal energies in and out of those organs. But at the same time, we're trying to be aware of the second energy body.
Right, exactly.
And Carol or Bill,
Well,
issues?
last Wednesday night my brother-in-law died, so my I have practiced since then, but I have not
Yeah.
focused on,
Yeah. It's yep.
Gone when that happens.
yeah.
Understandable. Bill or Bill?
We're waiting each other out.
We are. We are. I figured that Bill Nagel would definitely go first this time.
Okay. I I did focus on 3, interestingly enough, a little bit more this week. With a couple of things in mind. One, the energy is moving side to side, which is unusual in this form. Everything else is moving up and down, basically. So getting in touch with that was part of my goal, and keeping it round rather than horizontal, straight side to side. And maybe that all meets in the middle at the heart mind. I don't know.
Hopefully.
um, as Joanne was saying, the heart mind comes and goes for me. I feel it, I think, occasionally, but not consistently.
Okay. Mr. Bynum?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the cat has it. They, yeah, I think it's interesting. I've been trying to slow everything down to let those things happen. And sometimes there's a slowing things down is good for mind and heart mind. And sometimes I get monkey brain when I slow things down more quickly. So yeah, it's a journey, and I'm definitely not at the destination. So
well, this is fortunately one journey where you never reach the final
you never,
destination.
the destination is never attainable, right?
So one thing that I know you all have worked on and was mentioned in this practice, but it's a really important key to keep in mind, and that's the 5 points. And the fact that you want to feel all the 5 points equally. That's a really perhaps difficult goal to reach, but that is something that is a clear indication that you have opened up the energy flows in your body, in whichever energy body you're focusing on. So that's just a good one to keep in the back of your mind. So we work on the various elements here. Are there any other thoughts or questions at the moment? Okay. So I'd like to do that second energy body practice again. We don't need all the words beforehand. You can read those if you have lost track of them. And there are lots of them, so that's easy to do. So stand up. You can face whatever direction you're comfortable in. really take that time to let yourself just stand for a moment and let everything quiet and still. I refer to it as returning to Wu Ji, as close to emptiness as you can at the moment. And then stepping out, coming into your basic structure. Just making a little check through your body, making sure that you have your structure the way you'd like it to be open, not tensed, not limp, but that released and open place in between. Be very aware of your breath, allowing your breath to slow and lengthen. Not with effort. Your entire body involved. And when you're ready, begin doing movement 2. First, just begin to recognize how your hands are affecting your etheric body. As you do that, feel your skin. And be sure that your skin, your physical body, is okay with this. Really isn't any point in going to the second energy body unless your physical body is comfortable with this. Do this until your first energy body is saying it's okay. There's no problem. sure that you have both your feet beyond the tips of your fingers and above your head to the ends of your etheric field, stable. As it's stable, you can begin working with your etheric body. You want your hands moving down and up to start activating the etheric sphere of your etheric body around you. This includes what's ahead of you, what's in back of you, what's to the left and what's to the right. Remember, you want to keep the awareness of your 5 points stable. This means the 5 points at the extent of your etheric body. Above your head, beyond the tips of your fingers, and beyond your toes, below your feet. And from the 5 points, become aware of the entire etheric field around you. And begin movement 3. And as you become aware of the entire etheric field around you, notice if you feel any blockages anywhere. anything that's affecting the entirety of the smoothness of your movement. You can dissolve them or use any method you've learned that can help you get rid of blockages. Now begin to focus on the Wei Qi, that etheric river underneath your skin. Notice that the etheric river and the feeling of the etheric body outside of your physical body become one. Doing your best to make the energy as smooth as possible and releasing anything inside your body. Using anything you know that can help you do that. Reverse direction. Making everything smooth will change from day to day. But the reason won't always be the same. Find that at certain times, just because of the nature of the way the body changes, some aspects inside it become more dominant than others. So you could dissolve everything that's inside of your etheric field and outside of you. You could dissolve the etheric river underneath your skin, the Wei Qi. Or you could do it any way you want to do it. As long as you're feeling anything blocking either your skin or inside your body or inside your etheric field is releasing. When doing movement 3, it is usual that since you're moving from side to side, you may feel blockages that you don't feel in doing the vertical movements. Now transition to movement 4. Now if your mind gets very quiet, very stable, and very inside you, you can start thickening the etheric field. What thickening the etheric field will do is it will enable you to recognize what's blocked much more easily. Keeping that movement steady through your etheric field can cause the etheric field to get stronger. And that will eventually translate into the ability to extend your etheric field further and further away from your 5 points. be aware of integrating these movements with those you have done before. And every once in a while, check, am I still at the 5 points? Have I stayed within the 5 extremities, not allowing them to break up and cease operating? This can take quite a while before you notice whether it is happening or not. And it occurs because something doesn't feel right. And when that happens, your mind will get naturally drawn to which of the 5 extremities is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now have your mind moving through your body or your etheric field to correct whatever it is that has broken your whole body awareness of yourself. It can be what your physical body is, or your etheric body, or it could be your central channel, or maybe your left and right channels, or maybe the yin and yang twistings, or maybe lengthening or opening and closing, or how you're breathing, but nobody can say. To the best of your ability, be aware that you correct them until at the end of your practice, wherever you are, you're doing all of these things at once. That may take some time before you understand it, when all of a sudden everything will change and come together. And you want to keep that happening. That's the main point. And pause the next time your arms drop. And close. feel the change? What's different now from when you began? You can relax and sit when you're ready. So what worked? What didn't work?
Yeah, I think the 5 points is one of the most. Am I on here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The 5 points is when I get back to thinking with the 5 points, it is really changes things in terms of the whole in terms of getting in touch maybe with the legs and the head uh, as energy points. I think the hands and fingers, because they're so active and because we're using them, are maybe the easiest and feel the strongest. And you talked about it being equal, trying to have it be equal at all the 5 points, which it's not, but extending that into the etheric body. And one thing you talked about the etheric body being stable, and I don't know exactly what that means because I feel sort of a pulsing of the etheric body. Um, so maybe you could comment on stable and uh, but anyhow, that was very good. It gives me some new things to hang on to that I think are effective with the 5 points and extending. I incorporated lengthening in and lengthening out with that,
Uh-huh.
which helped a lot too.
Absolutely, because lengthening is, as, as everything is, but lengthening particularly is involved with releasing, allowing the energy to flow, allowing those changes to happen. And certainly stability, we're talking about different things. One is simply being continuously and constantly aware of the presence of the etheric body. And then and getting that to be stable, to be constant, to not come and go. And then to be aware of the movement of the energy within it, to be stable, to be continuous, connected. So there's a lot to feel there. And one thing that's certainly, I guess I would say I at first found it difficult was the concept that you're in the middle of a sphere of energy.
Mm.
The etheric body isn't just some energy going up and down or left and right a bit when you're doing 3, but it's a sphere all the way around you.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy is going back and forward and left and right and up and down and all the diagonals in between. So getting that sense of spiritualness is really important, and it leads to the movement that we want in everything that we do, whether it's God's or a Tai Chi form or another Neigong. We would like always to have our movement be spherical. And that's sometimes hard to find. As we have to let go of all the corners and stopping and starting, and find, how do we round everything? How do we make it have that sense of spiritualness? And to remember that something that comes up perhaps more in Tai Chi than it does in God's, but is certainly present, and that is that you're working with more than one sphere. They come and go, they change, they interchange, they blend and separate. And so there is a great complexity to this spiritualness. So not only is there a large sphere that you're in the center of, but there are many smaller spheres that you're working with. So I got away from stable a bit there, didn't I?
Yeah.
However, it's all connected.
I found this week, I found it again today, challenged by the concept of the river. And I think because I'm so literal about things, too literal probably, that was like, the river, where's it running to? And somehow that's been a bit challenging. Along with all of the, being stable, being, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So it's simply a layer just under the skin that flows throughout the entire body. We begin by feeling the energy movement along the skin. And then we feel it in the Wei Qi, because that's really an easy, well, I probably shouldn't say easy, but it's a relatively easy feeling to go a little bit deeper. And then to continue on into the more deeper levels beyond that is even more challenging, obviously. But the Wei Qi is the next step after being clearly aware of the movement along the skin.
The Wei Qi along the fascia, is that the?
It certainly is along the fascia. It is a layer underneath the skin, and so it is going to be related to the fascia, yes. Eventually you're moving the energy through the fascia too.
Oh, you've frozen up, David, at my end.
What?
Oh, frozen. They're both frozen.
He's like,
Get back on.
Hey, that was
hello. Wow.
That was very
I thought,
interesting.
I thought you guys had extended your etheric body beyond.
We're working real hard on it, guys.
That's a hell of an easy flow.
It just suddenly went out and then it came back.
The river was fine.
Yeah.
It was blinking lights and they were blinking all the time.
Yeah. That was interesting. Well, okay.
Right.
Bill Nagel or Carol have anything you'd like to throw into this?
It was very good for me this morning. No offense, but to the extent that I almost don't want to talk about it.
That's all right.
Just continued. I'm still feeling energy flow. Um, and kind of oddly for me, it in four, it um, my Dantian. Um, Normally I don't focus on that, and maybe I should, but there it was. And I had a good bit of energy in my head also. So,
Aha.
which is again kind of unusual for me. So I was
Yeah.
happy to find that show up.
Good.
Hmm.
Great.
I was still having to work with a blockage in my back, which focusing on my feet seemed to help it more than anything, or letting it dissolve right through my feet. I'm not sure about dissolving it,
Good.
but the sense of the spherical, which is kind of how I originally thought of it. The but the image that was coming today was a globe, so that it was close to my body. It wasn't so that there wasn't this big space behind me of the backside of the circle, or and when my head came forward, it didn't leave a space up here where the circle used to be. It was
Came with you.
Yeah, it was kind of an image, a visual thing that.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
so both are. You're absolutely correct in that. That's an interesting. It's interesting that you had that awareness today, because the etheric body extends out from your physical body an equal amount everywhere, as well as this larger sphere. So that's why you, for instance, in even just moving the two hands together, you can feel how much spherical body is there in between, because you're getting both the energy from left and energy from the right, and they meet somewhere in there, and all of a sudden you begin to get a sense of the width of those two bands around you. But it's also, when you think about the etheric body in the sense of somebody walking into a room and you feel the change. I mean, we've all had that, well, I think most of us have had that experience at some point. And so that's the outer sphere that's affecting everyone actually around them. So that's interesting. That's a good awareness, Carol. Point out. Good. Other thoughts or?
Yeah, maybe two things. I felt like I was having in two feeling more in the front and the sides. I think because you're getting going, and then by three, and particularly by four, thinking about the kidneys, just kind of being more aware of the surround, and more aware of the back. Just kind of. I think I do have a question about trying to be equal with the 5 points. In doing 3 with our feet now, we are putting, as we are on one side, the other, the weight is on the back heel of the opposite side, and the front on the side going. I kind of suddenly I was overthinking my feet in 3 and because I've been trying to do that without kind of leaning in on the
Yeah.
side
So,
that we're going to.
Actually, your weighted foot is towards the heel, so that forward foot is towards the heel. So
Forward foot is.
Aha. Well, forward.
Go ahead.
Forward in the sense
Yeah,
of
okay.
here.
So that's towards the heel.
That's towards the heel because the energy is going out
Up
here,
there,
and
uh-huh.
out here, and coming up here.
And so how is that foot weighted then?
Toe.
Hmm?
Toe.
Toe. Okay, so I think.
So I'm reversed.
Yeah, you're reversed. Okay.
And then that you're going through
Okay.
the middle, and then it reverses to the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
It can work.
It was working that way, but it's not
It
because
it can
it's
work
it's
opposite.
the opposite. Right, you're doing the opposite with your feet.
Yeah. So, that's the thing about this practice is you're eventually hoping to arrive at a point where you can do it both ways.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
All of it.
Right.
I can't say that I can do that yet, but
I'll have to
but I'm
unlearn
told that
again.
that's possible.
Yeah, right.
Bill, Bill, do you have anything else you wanted to question
No,
or say?
No,
Okay.
not at the moment.
Well, good class. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming, and we'll see you next week.
Nice.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep,
I think next week is the beginning of a new session too.
okay.
So thrown out.
What's our time?
It's just 9 or 10, whatever. It's the top of the hour.
Yeah, that's what it's
Do
supposed
you have
to
an
be.
appointment afterwards?
John has an appointment in Mystic at 12:45.
Okay. All right.
So I'd have to get.
I'm fine. I don't
Yeah.
have to go see David. I took the other David. I have 2 Davids on this trip, I thought, but no, yeah, so I'm fine. Whatever your schedule needs are.
Okay.
I have to share this because it was just, I think that it was very helpful that this practice was last week that we really, kind of moving into this because I went to a movie at the Guard on Palestine, the No Other Land, which is the story of a village in the West Bank that the Israeli army is trying to move the people out of, and it's a beautiful story about a Jewish journalist and one of the men from the village who are about the same age, and kind of over the course of several years. So pretty intense, about an hour and a half, and then there was a discussion led by a Jewish man who's been to Palestine and brought some groups there. It's kind of known around New London. So there are a series of people speaking, and then I decided, because he had been saying, well, what should people do? And I went, okay, I have to get up. I could have been up there speaking. I find it harder to kind of sometimes just kind of get in and go, okay, get in the right space to kind of do this. And you're talking to him, but you're really talking to the 200 people in the massive theater who are spread out all over the place. And so, so I spoke, and he didn't like what I had to say. Shocking, I know. And I didn't say it with that in mind, because he was kind of like touting these, peace delegations and yada, 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 but he's very pro-Israeli. And that really came out, when one of the things I said is that, these are our tax dollars that, that pay for the first thing I said was we should tell this truth. We should tell this story. That alone can be radical these days, because when you say anything about the Palestinians, you're referred to as anti-Semitic. And so this,
Yeah.
this is, like we've seen this documentary here. And I said, but, we're also have to be aware that our tax dollars are paying, for the removal and for the weapons and all of that. And he got don't go there, don't go. And he called me naive. And he shook his finger at me. He can call me a lot. You can disagree with me, but do not call me naive. But while he was berating me, which is what he was doing, and I got claps. He didn't get boos, but people didn't clap for him. I just felt this energy. I felt like I was in this sphere. I felt kind of both energized by it. I felt very centered by it. I felt protected in that I could hear him and I could think clearly, because I think when in those situations, it's so easy to just go, fuck him. I mean, I'm not going to say that, but to think it in your mind and then lose, like, your centeredness. But so it was very, and then I responded. He wanted me to go away. He walked to the other side of the stage. I was standing at a microphone in one aisle, and he's like trying clearly not to. And I just said, because the mic was still on, I just said, what did I say? I'm offended by you calling me naive. And I just said a few more things, and I didn't say any more. But I think that the conversation, that kind of helped turn the conversation. A few other people spoke similar to me afterwards. And that kind of showed his, his real position anyway. He was extremely pro-Israel government. But I think the point here is just how I felt. Like I visualized it. It was almost like I watched myself for a second. I just felt like I was in this, in this circle of energy that was coming from me, clearly. Which I think if I had not, I'm not sure what would have happened if I was, if we hadn't had this practice right now, But it was just all of those things coming together, which was just so powerful, because and you're not always in that situation where you feel like you need all those things either, right? No. That you need to be clear, calm. Someone's kind of attacking you, so you have to be calmer, not react. Yep. It was really beautiful, actually, kind of an amazing, right? Yeah, and it just makes you want to keep doing the practice. It's kind of like, here's the reward. Let's go with this one.
Very good. Yeah. Anyway. So, any practice of the form?
I did a little, not a lot. I mean, still kind of going. I did try to go back over both the first paragraph and the second, because in my mind sometimes when I get here I get to mix them up. Maybe 2 or 3 times I did it this week.
I've loved the whole thing.
I'm impressed.
Focusing on the second, I thought, let's just do the whole flow.
Yeah.
And that was very nice.
Oh, good. Any particular questions? Okay. You don't have to.
I had more questions, with gods. I'm trying to remember.
Well, why don't you actually, the first paragraph is pretty short, so why don't you start at the beginning so that you're clear about the beginning, and then flow up to through wave hands, or the single whip after wave hands, which is where we stopped.
Right, yes.
Okay?
Yep. Yeah, where do we go?
You can move that chair if it's in your way. That's
just so I know. Oh, Carol's getting warm.
No, I just don't want to be.
Just don't want to have to move with it.
I think that you both seemed definitely better than the last time we were together. But particularly, Joanne, you were keeping a continuous movement much better today.
I think Carol's slowness helps me.
Oh.
Because I tend to rush it sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And I felt like, oh. I'm 3 postures ahead of you already at the beginning. I'm like, oh no. And I think that I go too back and forth. So that does help to slow it down
Oh,
and
well,
do that.
good.
So
No,
that was kind of an observation. Yeah.
definite.
Good, but thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
reinforces
And
that.
I particularly like the way you do the follow step. I was just noticing
Yeah, that was feeling right.
it was feeling absolutely right today. The timing was right. You were completely balanced. It felt like you were rooted. That was very nice. Good to see. Couple of places.
I just want to say that the energy of doing it was really nice today.
Yeah.
I
It just-
felt that.
Yeah.
I
With both of you, it
pulling
was.
pulling it out of my head and just putting it
Yep.
into my body. It's just
Yep. Yep.
good.
Yes, yeah, no, it really did. Yeah, you're right.
When I still have trouble starting in the middle.
I get that. Yeah, yeah.
And you would.
Find a punctuation point.
Yeah,
to
there are
start.
places that are easier to start than
You know,
others.
it's like after all these years.
But that makes sense because it's such a holistic practice that kind of,
Yeah.
anyway.
So, actually, generally speaking, the pull down was pretty good. I didn't have a real problem there. The next part of the movement is to stay weighted forward and rotate, twisting in, and then shift back. And I'm not seeing that shift back at that point.
Okay, yep.
So if you're in single whip and we shift and touch, step back and rotate into pull down, and then just release that left toe and turn, twisting in. And that allows you then to shift back into that strange push where you're pushing with the back of the hands while you shift back. And it's actually twisting out. One of the things about this form is that you have supposedly arrived at a point where the twisting is now actually twisting and not turning. And so you can twist without the body actually physically turning. If that makes sense.
Yep. Yep. I understand.
Did that
Yes.
clarify there all right? Do you? No. No. I wasn't even watching
Okay,
you.
yeah, I can tell you. Hey, I was doing it though. Who knows how well? But
So you get to pull down,
Mhm.
and it's turned, twisting in, and then there is a shift back to 60% on the left foot.
I want to watch you twist in from over here.
Okay.
So how much is the hands? How much is the arms? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. This is a twisting out,
Yeah.
twisting in,
And then.
twisting out,
Yeah.
and then into the
Yeah.
in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was just doing the twisting in.
Yeah. I think that's true.
No. What am I missing? Like all of a sudden it feels bad.
Well, it was closer.
Oh, good, okay. But not quite there.
So you're in a single whip,
Yeah.
shift,
Mm-hmm.
touch, step, and notice that you're still twisting in on that step, and that you're twisting out here,
Yeah, okay.
and then twisting in and twisting out,
Okay. Yeah.
and then in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Did that?
Yes.
Um,
I was doing too much of this and not the pull down, basically, I think.
You know, that's, you're not the first person to have an issue
No, it's not the
with
first
that.
time either.
But yeah, if you
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
let
yeah.
that have, because there is that sense that you really are pulling down,
Yeah.
and
And then you move the foot. Yeah.
and you know, one of the things, I don't know, I was not actually looking for this today, but it came up in yesterday's class, and that is that in this style, the rule about the arms, the hands not crossing the center line of the body is more important than it is in the Yang style. And so, for instance, here in that particular point, my right hand is at the center line of the body. But when I get to here, my left hand is at the center line of the body. But it's not a cross in either case. Just a reminder
Right.
about that, because it comes up in some other spots.
Yep. Yes.
I felt like after we turned back, we got into brush knee, and we had that pull down. Not pull down, David.
Play peepaw.
Play peepaw, thank you. And then pull
Mhm.
down.
Yes, yep, yep.
That section seemed not really clear. So one of the things is that that pull down, again, like the one we do earlier, but it's different here because you're just on one foot, is it's going down, but you have to save some down because you have to make that step and then be
Mhm.
able
Mhm.
to do the other one and then go into it. Yeah.
Did I not do that?
Well, it didn't seem so.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Getting one eye on two,
No, it's
two
hard.
people.
Yeah, no, of course you can't.
I-
Right.
I
Luckily,
will-
it's only two of us.
Yeah.
I remember there used
I'm
to be
lucky.
8 of us.
I'm lucky. Yeah.
Well, then we had mirrors though.
Yes, I know.
True.
We could see our own mistakes better. Right. Or I would always place myself so there was one of the really better students.
Why not?
Get behind Adam, you know. Who started much later than us. So anyway.
So, did that?
Yeah.
And making sure that when you get on around the other side, David, and you've gone here, that you keep everything round as you're going into
Right.
these
Yeah.
movements.
Yeah.
And one thing is to remember that in that going into Pung and Ji, that the body keeps rotating all the way through that. So the matching of those movements is very difficult because of the fact that you have Pung and Ji, but the body needs to keep rotating all the way through that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's the one I would stand behind Shelley.
She
Because she did that really.
did that so well.
she could do that,
She
yeah.
could do that really well. What does she do?
You're not stepping with the left foot in wave hands. Are you? Is that deliberate?
No. I am not stepping.
So when you get into here, the left side is a step forward
Mm-hmm.
and rotate, and now it's just
Yeah.
turn.
Oh, so at that point, I
Step.
didn't step into it, or I haven't.
Yeah, you didn't step into
Oh,
it each time.
Okay. All right.
So, just to,
Yep. Okay.
because that's
Yeah.
part of why the two sides are different.
Right. Yeah. No, it's interesting because I was paying so much attention to my right foot, and because we talked about that last week. In
Yeah,
terms of that I must
yeah,
have just
yeah.
kind of left out the left. Okay.
So, other questions in there?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of
2
time.
minutes.
What time do you need to leave?
Well, I have to stop at the pharmacy and drop off some library books on the way.
You have to drop me off too.
Well, that's where the pharmacy
That's
is.
oh, okay.
That's
All right.
no problem.
Okay.
So very soon.
Okay.
Because I need to eat something before we leave
Oh.
the house at noon.
You got a list.
And make sure
Thank
that
you.
All right.
I'll
Thank
shut
you.
up now.
Quick. Oh no.
All right. Try to
Great.
practice this a little bit before next time that you
Yes.
can come, and we'll add some more.
Right. Yep.
Good. Thanks for coming.
It is good.
I
It's
love
good.
having you guys here.
No, it's great. And I was a little worried we couldn't get in here. I sang Carol on the way. We've got a group coming to Valentine Peace Trust this weekend, and the farm side's great, but the Ahimsa side is like a sheet of ice, right?
Oh.
Like just getting out of the car to get to the to the kind of deck front porch piece is iffy. So I was a little, yeah. But you have enough, a little bit of sun here. Like a lot of salt and sand on the
unfortunately, our plow guy didn't come, so we don't really know what happened there. But
Well, was it not quite 3 inches or something?
maybe.
It's also hard to plow. I mean, we've had to plow back in the on the driveway to Ahimsa, but it's just solid ice. So he got rid of the inch or two of whatever fluff there was and broke through that little top. But then it's just ice.
Yeah,
well,
but
it was.
it is ice.
Yeah, our plow came when it was still slow snowing and just beginning to rain. So it got
The snow.
off, and then I went and cleaned up a little bit more afterwards, so that our driveway is fine and our walkway is fine. Our lawn looks like it's fondant. You know, that horrible frosting.
Oh yeah.
You could have crossed between that and a skating rink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just you have to be very careful.
You do. So you're gonna have to go back up the stairs.
Yeah.
This door is still
Okay.
frozen.
The door's frozen. Oh my. That's fine. Yep. Well, I never took my boots off because my feet were so cold.
Well, that
My
was,
feet are cold all the time,
it
though.
was
I mean,
probably
actually,
wise that you left them on.
practice does help get that. I've always said
I'm going up to the washroom.
cold extremities. Ah. So, David, what did you do for your birthday?